So, as we said, a genius, one who does all the simple things properly all the time. This session is not a long session, but it is a very crucial session. In the drawing of cartoons, you need to be able to create a character and then repeat them accurately time after time after time. That means that you can't be slapdash about it. At the creative stage, when you're refining the character and so on, there's a lot of room to work with. But once you've actually settled on your character, you've got to be able to produce it convincingly the same all the time. So, at the risk of this being, possibly repetitive, and it doesn't really matter. If you're going to be really good at what you do, you've got to just make sure that you do the simple things properly all the time. Cartoon face, you have to map onto it. You've got to be aware of the fact that you're meant to be amusing as well with most cartoon face, except for the superheroes and the action stuff. That's for another day. This is for the normal cartoonery. So you've got to be thinking, well, what do I want here? But let's just do this. It's an exercise that people should know already. There, you have your face. Most faces have got an eye on either side, a nose in the middle, and a mouth on the middle line too. So this is what we'll show. There's an eye on either side, like this. Put the little pupil in there. Some sort of nose. I tend to just do that little round offering. Couple of ears, mouth, and then eyebrows, and that's it. You'd be most unlikely to think, oh look, I've just created a cartoon character by doing that. But I do it only to show the mapping, because what happens after that, you now know where all his features are meant to be. So if you have to do a picture of him, let's say, looking over his shoulder at you, let's put his neck on here, and we'll give him the shoulder. So here he is, and he's got his arms here, and he's going to be looking over his shoulder at you. Probably done his head a bit large, but then no, let's just make the rest of him a bit larger, then that balances it out. So now we want the line down the middle. He's going to be looking over his shoulder at us, so we show the meridian, and now we can put the nose here. We know where the eye is, it's just there. You can see the value of this, and he's looking like that, and he has a mouth here, and we're still not getting a hyper emotional about it, but because we know where everything fits on him, we can do this, and we know that it'll work. And if you make a mistake, you can easily see that you've made a mistake, and you can correct it very, very quickly. If you want to do a picture of this same person looking up at the sky, you've got to have your meridian suddenly like this, because the head is a sphere. So we now know, we don't have to sort of think too hard about this. We know where his nose sits, and that's the sort of determinant on where to place the rest. When we're drawing the eyes in, of course, because we know that we're looking at it from an angle, they'll be slightly foreshortened, so we have to make everything foreshortened. That's an area of practice that everybody needs to get into. You probably won't see much of the eyebrows from here, but just put them in anyway. And the mouth is going to be very much like that. Now, if you see the picture above, the original drawing above, the ears are on that meridian in line with the eyes, but in this angle, they of course still are in line with the eyes, but because of the way we're looking at him, his ears will suddenly, now they're on that meridian, but look where the meridian is. And the ears look absolutely miles away from, you know, the line of the eyes. But you know, looking at that, you can tell it's right, isn't it? It's definitely right. Similarly, let's have him looking downwards. We'll put the meridian, the equator, just like this. And now we know for sure that that's where the nose is, and we know that this is where the eyes are. Again, because is sort of at an angle away from us, we have to show a bit of foreshortening. But now, and the ears, still on that meridian, will suddenly appear to be higher up, in that way. This is what I mean by getting all the simple things right. All the simple things right. It can't be overemphasized, and it's fortunate that in the world of cartoons, what happens is that you tend to have your underdrawing, which is what we're doing here, and then you add on to it your overdrawing, and the overdrawing is ink, in effect. So let's just give that a run. We'll just go to using some ink on one or two of these. Let's see. Yes, we're using the correct type of thing. Let's do the ink on the one where the person's looking down. There you have the eyes being ever so slightly foreshortened, because if you look at the one in the top left, the eyes are sort of upright ovals, but because we're looking from the angle that we're looking from, they won't look like that. And this is what you get. It was actually quite nice, you know. It's androgynous, which is to say, you can't tell if it's male or female, really. It's whatever you want to make it, because we're only really using it as an illustration. But we've got all the effects of foreshortening here, where you go from position 1, where you've got just like a sight on a rifle shoved in the middle of the face, and you can see where everything hangs. This is the small detail that will make every difference to whatever drawing you're trying to make, and you should observe these principles every time. Let's just create I can remember a little character from when I was a kid. It was a robot that was at school. It wore a school uniform and everything, and it had a personality. But basically, its head was like this. It was just a box. And the artist had obviously, although you couldn't see it on the page, because all you saw was the ink version, he'd done this. He'd put a line in the middle of the face. Let's just shade that off so as to make it even more obvious. And then he put the nose was like a little tube poking out like that. And the mouth, I think, was some sort of a grill, like this. But the point is, and again, you know, we'll put these robot eyes like this, and that, I think he had some ears, but they would have looked like, you know, earphones or something like that on the side of his head. Now, the person designing that character, creating that character, had already mapped out where all the component parts go on the face. Had them all. Didn't matter what the character was, even if it's an animal, if it's a dog, if it's any creature at all. You have to do this. You can't just. Well, I say can't. What I'm trying to say is, you can't just go bareheaded at it. You do actually have to have all the background work, and I'll take you back to the thing at the top here. If you want to be a genius, you must be one who does all the simple things properly all the time. Don't take shortcuts on them. You can do them quickly. Once you get used to it, you can draw very quickly. I know I do. It's a particular feature for me, is to draw quite rapidly. If I just take one of my standard cartoon characters, I'll have them like this, and I tend to just work better this way. This is a character who's in one of my cartoon strips, and he's called Brother Ralph. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to know more about the cartoon characters. But this is Brother Ralph. As usual, I've done him with his head a bit too large, but let's just enlarge his body instead. He's a monk, and he wears a monk's outfit, of course. He's like this, and his great enemy is always the witch of the parish. But let's not worry about that right now. I'm just showing you, because you've got the face in your mind, you know what to do. You can get him right, make him recognizable every single time without fail. You know, oh, he's a monk, so he needs what is called a monk's tonsure. That's where he has his hair cut in a particular way. We also have to give him his proper monk's cowl, like this. I'm doing this to show that you can work quite quickly, even though you're keeping to the discipline of doing all the small things properly. Here we go. We're inking him in. This is the key moment to get everything absolutely right. And if you hold on until the very end of this little video, I'm going to show you a little trick. It's only one little thing, but it will make such a difference to any of the characters you may create, and any of the things that any of the personalities that you put into your stories. I'm just going to show you this simple thing in a moment. But this isn't even speed drawing for me. This is my normal drawing speed, and I'm able to do it, as I've said, because I've observed getting the simple things right in the first place. Please leave any note you want in the notes below. Any question you want to ask. If there's anything that you'd like me to do in upcoming videos. But as I say, I've got a little nice touch for you in just a moment that will improve any picture you do. And I haven't done it on these because I'm really not concentrating on that. Let's give it to you now. I think I've bored you enough with going on about how you've got to stick to a plan, get it right. So let's have one of these round faces again. We'll make him a bit different. Give him a different kind of a nose. You can see there. This is a slightly more advanced type of character. There's a bit more to him, as you'll see. And I'm going to give him a chin. So he's not an entirely round character. Still going fairly quickly with him. Like this. Don't know who he is, just made him up as we're doing this for the purpose of showing you this small flourish that can seriously improve your output, your finished product. So let's start. We'll just ink him in. Again, we're going at a fair old pace, but that's my pace because I like to work like this. Give him his eyebrows. Going all the way down here to this chin. We'll put a little cleft in it because for some reason chins are more inclined to make you smile when you see a cleft in them. We've marked off his eyelids, so we don't need to draw anything above if we don't want to. And we put in the black for his iris, pupil, etc. We're nearly at the point where we do this little clever thing. And all it is, really, if we get up nice and tight on our little man here, is this. If I just put a little cut into the eye, now we go away from him a bit more, he just looks better. Generally he looks better because you've managed to get a little bit of a shine on his eye which hadn't previously been visible. There you are. As you can see, he's got that little bit of a shine in his eye. There are plenty of other little dodges and techniques like that you can use, but you're able to produce characters and produce faces because you get the small things correct all the time, and then you're able to repeat your characters. That's where we are. Thanks very much for following this, and I do hope it's kept you interested all the way through. Do bang on the like button and also subscribe so that you can pick up on all the other films and videos that I'm going to be producing on this subject. Send me any message you want. Ask me if you want me to do any particular type of drawing or answer any particular difficulty that you're having. You want a little technique to get through something, just give me a shout on the messages and we'll go from there. Speak to you again soon. Bye now.